Joining us today is Vlad. 8 years in IT sales, over 100 opportunities pitched, thousands of successful projects delivered, and some of the largest accounts under his belt. If you want to understand how companies actually buy and build custom software, Vlad is the guy. Hi, Vlad.
Hi, Nikita. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, sure. It's so great to have you today. Let's start with one obvious question I wondered about. Why would anyone today pay for custom software if there is so much ready-made stuff out there, and even AI tools that can generate websites in a day?
That's the core question, right? And the short answer is competitive advantage. So off-the-shelf software is designed to be a one-size-fits-all solution that addresses most common problems. It's like buying a standard sedan, a Toyota Camry. It gets you from point A to point B reliably, and for many businesses, it fully covers their needs, and that's perfect. But if you are in a competitive race where every second counts, you probably don't want a sedan, you want a Formula One car that's built specifically for a driver, for a team, and for the track that you're racing on. So custom software is that Formula One car. It's built around your unique business processes and your specific goals. It doesn't force you to change how you work. On the contrary, it's built to embrace and amplify how you work best. So sure, you can try and enter the race with your Toyota Camry, but you have to manually make upgrades, like swap the standard engine with a powerful turbo, bolt on a spoiler, and then just hope that your Frankenstein doesn't fall apart on the track and actually makes to the finish line.
Yeah, quite funny. Recently, my feed is flooded with ads like you don't need developers anymore. AI will build your product for you. And honestly, every time I see something like that, I think that can't possibly end well. When someone says to you, I can just build this software with AI in one day, how do you usually respond?
I usually say that's fantastic. AI is an incredible tool for getting the first draft or building a simple prototype quickly. And we use AI tools ourselves to accelerate development. But then I pivot. Yes, AI can create the basic structure, but it can't understand the deep business logic, the long-term scalability requirements, the specific security needs of the industry. And what's most critical, AI doesn't ask why you need or why you're building this or that feature. It just builds it. Our approach is very different. We start our projects with robust planning activities. We dive deep into the business needs of our clients to better understand why each and every feature is needed and what purpose it serves. So we take the time to figure out the right architecture that will make the final product scalable, secure, and future-proof. And we help our clients identify and assess the risks associated with the project and work out mitigation strategies to address them. So only after that, we actually proceed to writing the code and building the features.
Okay, that sounds solid. Still, I think the reason why those ads of no-code solutions are so popular is because many people don't really understand what's behind professional custom development lies. So let's dive deep a little into the value of custom software development. So what does it provide that can be extracted from off-the-shelf solution or AI-generated solutions?
I would say that there are three key aspects to that. And the first one is perfect fit. So you're not paying for 50 features you don't need, which is a common case with off-the-shelf solution. And you're not missing the three critical ones that might really bring value to your team and save a lot of time and efforts. So custom software is built around exactly how you work and operate. So you don't have to apply numerous manual workarounds as it often happens when working with off-the-shelf. The second one is control. With a shelf solution, you're in the backseat. You just wait for them to add features or integrations that you need. With custom software, you're driving the process. So as the business grows and your needs change, the software evolves with you exactly as you need it. And the final one is ownership. So with custom software, you own the asset. The intellectual property is yours. You're not just renting a service. You're developing proprietary software that increases the value of your company.
Right. And that's what often gets lost in the conversation. People think that software development is just about writing code, and it's not about the processes behind it. Still, let's flip it for a second. Say I'm a business owner, and I'm sitting on the call with you, and I'm really convinced that I need something custom. Why would you tell me to maybe look at off the shelf first?
That's a great point for discussion. I'd recommend business owners start with asking themselves a couple of simple questions. The first one, do you have a process or workflow that is unique? Something that you may call the secret sauce of your business. If it's some generic function like accounting or HR, a shelf solution is most likely fine. But if it's the unique way you manage your operations or deliver a service, that's a candidate for custom. And the second one, do you spend more time on workarounds than on actual work? Like if your team is constantly copying and pasting data manually from one software system or database to another, or if your whole office has to make 20 minutes coffee breaks while waiting some of your team members upload an enormous master Excel file, which was the case for one of our clients. Or if your team is regularly saying our system can't do that, you've most likely outgrown the shelf and need a custom solution.
I wanted to build custom software myself once. I had a brilliant idea. Duck owner, social app, local walks, chats, and small community feel. Looked fun, really, until I found out how much it would actually cost. What's the minimum budget where a custom development makes sense? And at what point can you expect a real MVP?
I always try to be bluntly honest about this. In our experience, any budget below 20K is essentially a discovery phase. In that range, we can conduct workshops, define the strategy, create user plot diagrams, and produce a clickable prototype. This is incredibly valuable for validating an idea and securing further investment, but you won't get a coded functional product. To get a real deployable MVP, something with real backend logic, functional user interface, and the core feature set for your early users to test, you should be looking at a starting budget of at least 50K, 75K, 100K, and going up, depending on how big and complex your MVP is.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I've seen as well. Yeah, sure, there are cheaper regions like India, Latin America, but it's rarely as simple as it sounds. Reliable teams there cost roughly the same as in Europe, and when you go below that line, it turns into a real gamble. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. You've been in software sales for 8 years. Looking back, how has the market changed in that time?
First of all, I would say that no-code and low-code solutions have filled the niche of simple websites and applications, which is actually great for us because it means that the conversations we're having are about more complex, high-value business problems that can be solved by a low-code solution. Second, the speed of delivery has dramatically increased. 8 years ago, clients were okay with 12-month semi-waterfall projects. Today, the conversation is all about launching an MVP in 3-4 months, getting user feedback, and iterating. So squeezing the timeline to get to market SAP is a common thread of many discussions nowadays. And third, AI has fundamentally changed what businesses can achieve with their software. For years, the primary goal of a custom software solution was automation, taking a predictable manual process and making it more efficient. Now, the most forward-thinking conversations we're having are about building intelligence. For example, our clients ask, can we create an internal tool that lets our staff ask the questions in plain language and get answers from our company's entire knowledge base, as well as a few external reliable sources of data? So this means that custom software is no longer just about improving efficiency. It's about creating a proprietary brain for a business, which definitely gives you a competitive edge.
In that case, let's say I've got my budget in place, and the next big question for me is who should I trust to build the thing? You have been usually on the other side of this process, representing the vendor. So I want to hear your view about the right approach to vendor selection.
I would recommend paying attention to the questions they ask and whether they ask them at all. Because a vendor who's ready to give you a quote without diving into your business needs and without asking any additional questions is a red flag for me. They're just a code factory. A true partner acts like a consultant or even a doctor. They'll ask many questions, like why do you need that feature? What problem is it solving? Have you considered this or that alternative approach? And so on. And they might even challenge and push back on some of your ideas or suggest some alternative approaches. And this shows they're genuinely interested in the project and its success, and not just in billing you hours.
That's actually unusual. I've never heard anyone describe it that way. Maybe companies even should put something like that on their websites. We ask at least 20 questions before the first quote. It would be pretty funny for me. Anyway, let's move to the next stage, development itself. How do I know if my project is on track during the development?
In my personal view, the most important sign of a healthy project is seeing regular demos of working. In my view, the most important sign of a healthy project is seeing regular demos of working software. So you should be seeing and having an ability to play with new functional features every couple of weeks. Also, your development partner should be transparent. Bringing to your attention any potential risks, roadblocks, or budget concerns before they become a major problem for you. What's also important is making sure that you're sticking to the timeline and staying within the agreed budget. So you should receive regular, easy to understand reports on your progress and on spending.
So basically, I should literally see the progress as it happens, not just at the very end. I came to a call with you, and you tell me that I will get something working only at the very end. So I can easily kick you and it will be totally okay. That actually brings me to another thing I've been wondering about. What are the top 3 mistakes you see businesses make when they look for a software partner, and how can they avoid them?
I would say that the first one is choosing the cheapest quote. Because a cheap quote often means inexperienced developers, poor code quality, or hidden costs that you'll have to pay later on. I'd recommend focusing on the value that you get, not the price. Looking at things like how good are these developers? Do they have relevant expertise? Can they provide references? Can they showcase some of other complex projects they have worked on? The second one is having an unclear vision. It's when you hand the vendor a vague idea and hope that they figure it out themselves. Avoid this by doing your homework. Outline your business goals and core features before you start the conversations with dev vendors. And the final one is staying distant from your partner, from your development partner. If you only attend the kickoff meeting and then just disappear for 3 months, you shouldn't be expecting great results. I recommend embracing partnership. In my view, the best results come from collaboration. Involve your vendor in business discussions, share your challenges, and treat them as an extension of your team. That's my formula for success.
Vlad, that's solid. Yeah, that's a solid checklist, especially your part about collaboration. Nicely done. I can second it. A lot of companies still treat vendors like suppliers, not partners. And that's true with the mistake, one of the biggest one. Let's turn to startups for a moment. I have a lot of respect for these teams. They pour everything into getting an idea off the ground, often with little more than grit, coffee, and belief. The journeys can be inspiring, sometimes, a bit chaotic, and yes, quite hilarious. Let's say I'm a startup with a great idea, and if I have 10, 30K for development, what can I realistically achieve in 8 weeks?
The honest answer would be is that with that budget, you're not going to build a full market-ready product. But that's okay. The goal at this stage isn't to build everything. It's to spend that money in a smart way to narrow down the vision and prove your concept and get funding for your future product development. So on the lower end of it, let's say 10K to 15K, we can do a discovery phase together. This includes workshops to refine your idea, about user journeys, create a clickable prototype in Figma, plan out the architecture of the future system, and define a clear scope for your MVP. And on top of that, we'll prepare a very detailed and reliable estimate and a phase delivery roadmap. If we're talking about the higher end of that sum, like 20K to 30K, we can validate 1 or 2 core assumptions by building a proof of concept. So let's say your idea depends on a complex algorithm, some unique third-party integration, or some unproven technology. A proof of concept can help you prove that your solution is technically feasible.
So, like, basically, I won't be able to build another unicorn with this budget, but I can build something that convince investors that it's worth betting on, right?
That's correct.
Invest some money to attract more money. Smart approach. If you look back, what's one custom and off-the-shelf solution you would make differently, and why?
I would say that the situation that immediately comes to my mind is one where we built a massive multi-platform MVP for one of our clients. And it was a marketplace connecting customers and service providers. And the founders had a great idea and a clear vision of how they wanted to implement it. Our mistake was not pushing back hard enough on the scale of their launch. And they wanted to go really big from day one. And the core assumption was that both sides of the marketplace would demand a premium native mobile experience from the very beginning. So we went really big. We built everything at once. We built a web app for customers and also native iOS and Android applications for customers. And we built the same for businesses, a web app and 2 native mobile apps. And it was beautiful, complex ecosystem, but it cost over $1 million just to get this MVP to market. And the platform launched and started getting traction. And the businesses, the owners of the business who are always on the go, they really love their mobile apps and they use them constantly. But the customers were a completely different story. When we looked at the analytics, it was a shock for us. Like about 90% of all customer activity was happening on the web app. So all the time and money that was invested in building dedicated mobile app was serving just mere 3% of the audience.
$1 million lesson.
Yes,
Sorry,
exactly.
continue.
Yeah, and that project fundamentally changed how we advise our clients and startups specifically. And the lesson wasn't just about starting small, but about validating each critical assumption before you invest. So today I would advise that client to launch with a web-only platform for their customers. And of course, we do mobile responsive design so that the user experience on mobile devices was very good. But only after we saw data showing that thousands of users actually access the service from their mobile devices, that would be the signal to invest in building a mobile app. To sum it up, the advice is that let your users' actual behavior and not your own assumptions to dictate the roadmap and prioritize the features for the product.
Well, let's wish them long growth. We kept going. There is no shortage of books, blogs, and advice on why startups succeed, and just as many on why they fail. From your perspective, having seen dozens of projects played out, what are the real success factors?
I'd say that the most common reason why projects fail is that they're built entirely based on the assumptions of their founders. And they spend months, sometimes even years, operating in stealth mode to perfect their product without having even one real-life conversation with a potential customer. They basically build a beautiful, complex key for a lock that might not even exist. And when they finally launch, they're often met with indifference. And not because the product is of bad quality, but because it solves a problem that nobody has or solves it in a way that nobody wants. And they run out of money before they have a chance to learn and pivot. And on the contrary, successful founders are focused on the problem they're solving, not on their idea for the solution. And this approach makes them incredibly adaptable. So when the user feedback tells them that their solution is not very good or reasonable, they don't see it as a personal failure. They see it as a valuable insight that helps them to find a better way to solve the problem they care so much about. So they're willing to pivot, to simplify, to change, because their focus is on the customer's pain point and not on their own ego.
So it's really that classic learn from your mistake mindset?
Yeah.
I would love to be that sharp in my own mindset, but every time I realize I could have done something better, it still stings. But these guys falling over and over until they finally make it. Crazy. Really. Okay. Man, I would love to be that sharp in my own mindset. But every time I realize I could have done something better, it still stings. But these guys falling over and over until they finally make it. Crazy. And now, with all this AI stuff, everybody tests their luck in building an AI startup. It almost feels like if a startup doesn't have an AI built in, it's not even a startup anymore. From your experience, how much of that is hype and how much is already changing the way companies build software?
The biggest hype, in my opinion, is the idea that AI is a kind of a magic wand that you can wave at any messy part of a business to create value. And the threat that we hear regularly from prospecting clients is we don't know what our process should be or how we'll get this or that data, but that's what AI is for, right? It will just figure it out somehow. This belief that AI can create order from chaos, that it can embed data that you don't have, or it can fix a business process that you never bothered to define. The reality is that AI is more like a powerful amplifier rather than a magic wand. So it doesn't fix a broken process, but it can definitely supercharge a well-defined one.
Do you believe that every business needs this kind of supercharger, or like a simple business like a retail store that is far away from tech? Should it care about new technology implementation?
Yes, 100%. Technology is the backbone of every modern business, and for a non-tech company, I'd recommend the following. Your approach should be problem first, not technology first. So instead of just saying we need an AI, just because everyone else talks about it, start by identifying the areas of the business that can be improved. Like, what's the most tedious manual task that you do every day? Or where do you lose most of your time and money? Or what's the number one complaint from most of your customers? For example, you might find out that 80% of the time your employees spend tracking the inventory. Then just look out for a simple tech solution to address the problem. It can be an off-the-shelf solution, or it can be a small custom software development. A custom software tool. So just don't do the other way around, choosing the tech tool and then trying to figure out how to squeeze it into your processes.
Okay, let's highlight it. Problem first, not tech first. Great approach. For a business owner watching this, what's one practical action they can take this year to benefit from tech trends without overcomplicating things?
I'd say that my advice is to find and automate one thing, just one thing. Don't try to digitally transform your entire company in a week. Identify the most repetitive, time-consuming, soul-crushing task that the team performs. Something that involves manual data entry or tracking some data in spreadsheets, something that everyone really hates. Then spend a few hours researching tools that can automate it. It can be a simple solution like Zapier, connecting to apps that you already use, or it can be a small project with a development company like ours. And by automating that one process, you'll not only save time and reduce the amount of manual errors, but you also show the power of technology to your team and build the momentum to take up your next bigger challenge. And hopefully, it will be a small win that will open the door to your massive future games.
Awesome ending, Vlad. Thanks for sharing your experience and stories.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
For viewers, if you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe and share it with someone who is thinking about building software. And if you want to learn more about SumatoSoft's projects or get in touch with Vlad, links are in the description. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.